Wednesday. Welcome to Wine Dine Wednesday. Today's topic is settling. Excuse me. First, I want to start saying Happy New Year. I look how I feel, and I actually feel a little better. I'm starting late today because God called me to His word, and it was a choice of staying in my word or staying in His, and I chose to stand in His, and I'm glad I did because it kind of relieved me of some of the weight that was on my heart and on my mind, and I needed it. I needed some clarity, I needed some strength, and it's never too late, and I'm always gonna show up. So here we are. Happy New Year, 2024. It's the first Wednesday in 2024. So it's about showing up for me. It's about committing to me. And our topic for today is settling. It's episode 1 for 2024 about settling, because you never want to settle. You never want to sit yourself in a situation where you know you do it for comfort, or you do it just because it's easy. And I needed to be in that room, in that prayer, to spend my time with God for myself, before I did come up here to talk to anybody else, because I've been settling. I feel like I've been settling for things going okay or being okay, and you should never settle. You should never settle for love. You should never settle for a job. You should never settle in any type of situation, friendship. It is very important that you know yourself, know who you are, know what you want, and that you're not settling. Don't settle for ease and for comfort, because sometimes you might settle and find that ease and find that comfort in those situations where it's not good for you. You could be settled and you can have that comfort, but are you really happy? Are you really living in your purpose? Do you really know who you are when you step in that room and you're in that moment, in that time? Or are you settling for somebody else's feelings? Are you that person who, you're so worried about how everybody else feels and what everybody else wants that you can't see you? Like, I feel like, I always talk about how I don't want to bring religion into my Wine and Dine Wednesday, but I am a woman of God. I am led by God. And I'm sorry for anybody who don't like it or feels like, this is not something they want to hear. You don't have to be here. You don't have to watch. This is definitely for me. This is my purpose. This is me standing on my purpose. I am Tanea. I am a survivor. I've survived fires, abuse, trauma, stress, depression, and I'm still going strong. I'm still kicking. And one thing I did receive from that message was, don't get too busy, because you become too busy and doing things to stay distracted and just to keep going and get up every day. But are you really happy in what you're doing, or are you settling for those routines just so you don't have to acknowledge the hurt, acknowledge the pain, acknowledge the bad situations? Like, you have to really, really, really know your boundaries. Like, I don't know how many other ways I can put it, but knowing your boundaries and knowing what you want to accept and what you won't accept. What the word says, change the things you can accept and accept the things you cannot change. And it may not be in that form, but that's exactly what the word is. If you can't change it, then you accept it for what it is and you keep moving on. But if you can change it, you do what you have to do to change it. You have the strength. You take your power and you do what you have to do for you to be happy, for you to have comfort, for you to do and live how you want to live and be who you want to be. And it's hard for a lot of people to do that. It's hard when you're in this relationship that you think is love. It's hard when you in this situation and you think your family got your back and they really don't. It's a lot of people who step on you to get where they want to go in life or where they trying to be, and they don't acknowledge how that makes you feel or how that really affects you or how that is for you. So my message just today is to don't settle. Wine and Dine Wednesday is all about support. It's all about empowerment. It's all about strength. You have to know who you are. Use your strength. Every day you get up, you're strong. Every day you take a step into the direction of what you're trying to do, what you want to do, you're strong. Like, this is the empowerment. I'm empowering you. I'm empowering me, showing up for me, the accountability of showing up for myself when nobody else would. I'm using my voice. This is my platform for me to use my voice, and I welcome any other survivor, any woman, any young girl that is confused and need guidance, to stand up for themselves and use their voice. Together we rise. Together we're stronger. Together we can accomplish anything. Some people go hard to do it by themselves, and you can do it by yourself. It took me a long time. It took me a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of confusion, a lot of talking to God to really realize what I needed for me, where I needed to go, and where I needed to be. And I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I don't know it all, and it's forever changing. But what I do know is who I am and what I want out of life and what I stand on and what I believe, and that I'm going to use my voice to get there. I'm not going to use my body. I'm not going to settle for other people's happiness. What you feel and how you settle for you is not what it is for me. I need to understand for me what I'm doing and what I want. It's my strength. They say chase God, dreams, and goals, not people. I don't care about what the next person is doing. I care about what I want to do, how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to settle for, oh, but this is what he needs and what makes him happy. If I started Wine Dine Wednesday because I was a domestic violence survivor. And when I was going through it, I didn't have that support. I didn't have that community. I didn't have that guidance. I didn't have no patience. I prayed and I prayed. And some days I wanted to give up because I thought the Lord wasn't listening. Or some days I thought I needed to settle and just accept my situation for what it was when I didn't. I just had to be patient and love me and be strong. I had to find my own strengths. I had to find my purpose in life. And I really just had to love myself. It's really all about self love. When you learn to love yourself, you move different, you think different, you feel different. It is definitely led by God. I found God, and that's why, I felt like, I was ready to give up with this thing, this Swan and Down Wednesday. I felt like I was losing myself or I was losing my purpose, and I needed that reminder. And so while I sit here at 8:32, reflecting on my previous call and the previous prayer, I'm glad that I made the decision to stand up for what I believe and what I want for myself, to actually apply it more to what I have to offer to y'all, just to show up and have the renewal of the mind, of the energy, of the strength, of my purpose, because it means something to me. It definitely means something to me. It's 2024. There's a new year. It's new things. It's a new time. We just recovered from COVID, and now there's so many new flus and sicknesses going around. But you have to know your strength. You have to know where you stand with you. You have to know where you stand in your situation. Don't settle for the job. Don't settle for the boyfriend. Don't settle for the situation. Like, know when you're settling. Some people, they don't even know when they're settling. They be so caught in the moment of what they think is happiness or what they think is comfort, and then it's like the good outweighs the bad sometimes, and then the bad, it outweighs the good. Like, where do you stand in that situation? Do you let your bad outweigh the good just because you think you're happy, or just because you think you have a love that you was looking for, the love that you need? Or are you willing to get uncomfortable, put yourself in those situations that are worth changing for, that are gonna make you change even when you don't want to? Like, that's one thing that I know God would do. He will put you in a room and make you do things that you don't want to do, so you can grow, so you can change, so you can be your best you. Like, don't settle. Like, when I picked this topic of settling, it kind of hurt me because, I see people who hear me, who know my story and seeing what I've been through, and they still, settle. They still choose the hurt over the joy, over the love. They still choose someone else's happiness over their own. Like, you have to know you. You have to know what makes you happy. You have to look at your kids and see what your kids are seeing. What image are you really, what is it that you're really showing your kids? Like, what is it that you're showing the world? Like, is that what you want them to see? And it ain't even about what people see or what they judge, because nobody else matters. At the end of the day, it's you, your life that you have to live. But what about how you feel? Is that what you want your kids to see? Do you want your kids to see you settling? Do you want your kids to see you really unhappy, but you try to pretend like it's this comfort place? Like, one thing I'm gonna tell you is your kids know. And as much as you live into now, as much as you settle for a bad situation that's not really for you, it starts to reflect on your kids. It starts to reflect on your community. It starts to reflect on how you deal with people, how you wake up in the morning. What does your energy look like? Like, one thing I learned in my survival story is that I'm not going to settle. If you're going to accept me, you're going to accept me for who I am, how I am, and that's just it. And if you're not going to accept me for who I am and how I am, then you're not for me. Whether that's the job, whether that's the man, whether that's the companionship, or whatever it may be. Like, if it's not for me, it's not for me. I know what I want, I know who I am, and I stand on it. And as long as I live righteous, as long as I'm living good and I'm doing good for people and I'm loving people, then I know nothing could come my way to hurt me. If you don't go through trials and tribulations, you will never learn and you will never grow. So I accept all my pain, all my troubles, all my trials for what they were. They were lessons and blessings. I learned and I got blessed and I moved on. Either you still with me and you rocking, or what I took from it what I needed and I moved on. But I'm not gonna settle just for somebody else's happiness. I'm not gonna settle for cheaper bills because somebody's paying my way or they paying all my bills. I'm not gonna settle just because this job is consistent, and the inconsistency is hard. It's hard entrepreneurship. It's hard being an entrepreneur. It's hard being a single mother. It's hard being a co-parenting mother. It's hard being in a relationship. Everything takes time. Everything takes patience. Mm. Excuse me. Everything takes time. Everything takes patience. Everything takes strength. But you have to know you. You have to believe in you. You have to follow you, your purpose, your reason for waking up. I'm happy to wake up every day so I have another day to try to accomplish my goals and my dreams and, follow my passion, what I think I'm supposed to do for the world. I'm love. I give love. And, I don't always receive it back. And that's hard sometimes. It's hard to be that person to always give, 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 even when it's not financially, emotionally, physically. Time. For you to give your time is a part of you. People say time is money. It is, because I could spend time with somebody who's willing to pay $1 million and it's not something I value. But it might take me time to spend time with somebody who can't pay me that million of dollars, and it might be more valuable to me. I might learn more. I might find more purpose in spending time with somebody who can't pay for it versus the person who can. Even though my time is my money, I definitely want to get my worth, but I know where I stand in life. I know what I want and I know my position. And it's hard to put a price on who I am because I'm priceless. My knowledge is priceless. My purpose is priceless. Like, how do you really put a price on that? But you still have to know, not to settle, because then people take advantage. Now you're taking advantage of my time just because I'm giving it up for free, just because I'm doing free events and free webinars and, making time for you when I really don't have to. Don't abuse that. So, you have to know when you're settling for a situation. Some people, they just settle for that because, oh, well, nobody's not paying. So I'll deal with whoever's coming for free, or nobody's not taking me serious. So I'll just go with these people because they giving me a little bit of time of attention. Like, I'm not settling for nothing. If it's only me and it's always me, I'm gonna show up for me. I'm gonna stand up for me. I'm gonna live in my purpose, and I'm not settling for nothing and nobody. There's nothing nobody could offer me. There's nothing nobody could buy me that is gonna make me change my mind on what I believe. Like, my beliefs mean everything to me. It's how I live, it's what I stand on, it's how I grow, it's how I build in my life, it's how I build in my business. And I'm proud of me. My personal growth so far, from birth to now to 2024, we in a whole new year. I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy with where I'm going, and I might not have it all. I might want more than I have, or I might get influenced by what I see sometimes, and I'm that's on me. I have to be bigger than what I see. I have to remember where I come from and where I'm going. I have to remember my purpose, and I'm never envious and comparing to nobody, because what's for me is for me, and I don't care what you got, how you living. At the end of the day, are you really happy? Do you really know your purpose in life, or are you just being flossy just to show it off. People always try to say, "Oh, I'm not showing off. I'm not showing off," but they really do. Even if it's just for them. Some people they never had and they get a little bit now and then they change how they are, they change how they live, and they start walking with cockiness, and that's not good. Like, one thing I pray on is that when I do make it to where I want to be or where I need to be in life or where I see myself getting in life, that I don't never change. I still carry myself with love. I still carry myself with patience. I still carry myself with kindness. Like, I don't want the evilness of the world to take over me, to take over my mind, and that's why I can never settle for nothing. Like, I'm not settling. You have to know not to settle. You have to know to be strong. It's not easy to find support. It's not easy to find the strength. And empowerment is not everywhere. But when you start to acknowledge what you're seeing and what you're doing and what you're taking in your ears, in your eye socket, what's coming out of your mouth, how you're using your tongue, the way you speak of the word, the way you pull yourself into the word, it all leans on you. Everything starts and ends with you. It begins with you knowing who you are, how you are, what you would accept, what you won't accept, what your boundaries are, what's crossing the line for you, what's a red flag. Those are things that you need to start paying attention to. That's how you get better. That's how you get stronger. That's how you really know where you're going and if that thing is for you. Like, a lot of the times, I be discouraged by how I look and my hair is not done, and I want to get dressed and put on this image, but sometimes I don't feel like it, and I don't want to not show up because I don't feel like it. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna come how I am, whether you accept and receive me or you don't. I'm doing this for me. This is my accountability. This is me giving that support to somebody who need it, because I'm not gonna settle for, oh, if it's not good enough for them, then it's not good enough. I don't care what's good enough for you. I know what's good enough for me, and it's good that I got up and I believe in me and I love me. Finding that self love. When you find self love, we're gonna have a week about self love, y'all. It's coming up real soon. I gotta look on my calendar, but when we get into that self love conversation, self love is life. When you love yourself, you find real happiness. You find real purpose. You find real passion. Like, what are your hobbies? What brings you joy? Are you doing it every day? Are you doing something for you? Even when it comes to kids, like, we could take it out of relationship, out of domestic violence, and just be with you and your kids. And if you don't have kids and you can't relate, sometimes it's your niece and your nephews. Like, some people get up to take care of their kids or to take care of their family. Sometimes it's even your parents. You might have an elderly parent and you have to care for them because they can no longer care for themselves. Is it something that are you settling for certain situations just because the life is calling and pulling on you in that manner? Or are you really living in your purpose? Are you living for you? Are you doing what makes you happy? Because some people, they are abusing their kids, they are abusing their parents, and now they become the abuser. They become the one hurting somebody, because hurt people hurt people. And if you're settling and you're not happy, you become the hurt, and you start to hurt people in ways that you didn't even know possible. And you have to see that sometimes just watching you get hurt is hurting your kids. Now you applying that trauma to them. How is that gonna affect them down the road when they get older? Are they gonna be sustainable? Are they gonna be vulnerable to the same type of settling, the same type of situations, because they watched you do it for so long? Like, does that mean anything to you? Like, what is settling really for you? What is it for you that you want to do to be different? What is it for you that you stand on? How much do you love yourself, to not be in a situation where you're settling? Sometimes people settle because it's somewhere for them to live, it's somewhere to bring them comfort. Sometimes settling is not even bringing you comfort, it's just making it be more easy because they don't want to struggle by themselves, or they don't want to go in the shelter, or they don't want to be homeless, or they don't want to go back to their family that said they would be coming back. It's a lot of things that could cause you to settle, but those are things of the world. And that's things of judgment. Like, don't let nobody else's judgment guide you or move you into a situation that is not for you, that leaves you unhappy, that leaves you in troubling times. And sometimes you have to go through those troubling times to learn, what is it that this is teaching me? What is it that I'm going through that I keep going through the same thing over and over again? I keep replaying the same situations, or I keep falling for the same type of guys, or I don't see the growth in what I'm doing. You have to learn. If you don't learn from a situation, that's another thing I learned in my healing process is if you don't learn from the situation, you continue to go through that situation until you learn, until you see what you're supposed to open your eyes to see. You have to walk into this new year with a new mind, be a new person, be of new things. Sometimes people get comfortable and they don't want to change and they settle for how they are because change is hard. Change is not easy for everybody. Change is not something that comes easy. Change is not something that's easy to keep up because it takes a lot of adjustment. It takes a lot of flexibility. Everybody don't know how to be flexible. Everybody's not flexible. Everybody's not accustomed to change. And everybody's not ready to let go of the things that they like, or it might be those things that you're idolizing, or those things that you will give more glory than you. Always put you first. Always stand on you. What's that? I know everybody's seen that Instagram post that's going on right now. I can't show y'all with my feet. Look, I'm standing on it. I'm standing hard on it. I'm standing on what I believe. I'm standing on what I feel. And I believe settling is never it. It's never the way to go. It's never going to bring you happiness. It's not going to happen overnight. It may take you definitely time to acknowledge and understand and accept the things that you need to change, or change the things that you cannot accept. And that's it for me. You know, you have to know where you stand, and you accept the things that you cannot change, or you change the things you cannot accept. But just don't settle. Believe in you, love you. Self love brings all joy. Say, I love you. No. Yeah, it's late. I gotta put my baby down. I thank you for joining me for Wine Dine Wednesday. I thank you for being patient with me. I thank you for watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, thank you for supporting me and showing me love. Please drop how you feel in the comments. Drop what you would like to talk about. Drop what is settling for you. Like, give me some feedback. Like, let's really talk about it. Come into the room and talk about it. It's a time for reflection. It's a time for understanding. It's a time for growth. And you know, it's never a timeline on it. It's on your time, what you need and how you need to apply it. So just know that I'm love. I'm sending love. This is the support room. It's Wine Dine Wednesday. We live each and every Wednesday. Like and subscribe the page for more. If you like this, if you made it to the end, I thank you for watching. I thank you for tapping in with me. And yeah, have a good night. Love is love. It's Wine Dine Wednesday.